This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Ukraine and the Biden administration are trying to persuade skeptical Republicans to back another round of aid for Ukraine before it's too late. Ben Wolfgang, Ramsey Touchberry, and Stephen Dinan report a top aide to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was in Washington to urge lawmakers to support the administration's $106 billion aid package, which includes $61.4 billion for Ukraine. Ahead of a possible vote Wednesday, the fate of that plan appears grim as Senate Republicans insist on securing the southern border along with Ukraine aid. House Republicans also haven't budged from their position since President Biden introduced the $106 billion spending plan more than a month ago. House Speaker Mike Johnson reinforced their position in a letter to Office of Management and Budget Director Shalonda Young, telling her that Biden must commit to transformative change to solve the border crisis if he wants the rest of the money. The package also includes more than $14 billion for Israel. Supporters and critics of a new California law requiring media literacy instruction in public schools say it's no coincidence that the law is being implemented as presidential campaigns get underway. Sean Salai reports supporters say the law aims to help students discern accurate, objective data from opinion and misinformation. Critics say the law is an extension of efforts by state Democrats to discredit and silence alternative media sources. Signed into law on October 13th, the measure will direct the California Department of Education to add mandatory media literacy sessions to all K-12 math, English, science, and history classes. Students will be taught how to weigh the ethical standards of digital news and opinion sources. University presidents were called to testify on what House Republicans characterized as their free speech defense of anti-Israel and pro-Hamas demonstrations on their campus. Valerie Richardson reports Harvard President Claudine Gay, with Penn President Liz McGill and MIT President Sally Kornbluth, defended their responses to the anti-Israel activism in a House Education and Workforce hearing. They said they had taken action to combat anti-Semitism and ensure student safety. Gay denounced the protesters' calls for violence against Israel as thoughtless, reckless, and hateful, but said Harvard allows hateful speech unless it crosses into conduct that violates our policies against bullying, harassment, and intimidation. And finally, FBI Director Christopher Wray told Congress the Bureau hasn't fired anyone involved in drafting a memo that labeled traditional Catholics as potential domestic terrorists because their overstep was not intentional. Carrie Pickett reports Wray did say that some employees of the field office in Richmond, Virginia, where the memo originated, have been admonished and had notes placed in their personnel records, which could affect future compensation. Although he was aghast after seeing the memo, Wray said it didn't signal any deep anti-Catholic bias within the Bureau's ranks. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Watch Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.